I apologize for the low quality of this video. I figured if I don't just do it, I won't do it. I have been thinking about making a YouTube channel about neurodiversity for a while, a couple of months. But I kept telling myself there are already people doing it, so what's the point of me making one? And then on April 2nd, it was International Autism Awareness Day. And there were all these posts talking about, oh, we don't need just awareness, we need acceptance and accommodations, and, we don't need some silly day commemorating it. We don't need some silly month. We need systemic changes. That's what's important. And they're not wrong, but so I'm a mental health therapist, and I had a client once, an autistic client, who I just, for whatever reason, just decided to ask. We talk about so many things, but I'm curious, when I say the word autism, what do you think about? Like, what does it mean to you? And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, I don't know, is it some kind of disease or something? Like, that was what he got out of his diagnosis, out of the people that told him about it when he was little, parents, teachers, professionals, all those folks. That's what he took away from it. So, I don't know. I just assumed if you get the diagnosis, you get people telling you some things that build up your self-esteem. But no, you never know. So then I thought, well, okay, maybe awareness is important. But I still didn't make the channel. And then RFK Jr. showed up. And look, I'm not the best autism ambassador ever, okay? But I really wish that more Americans saw his statements for the ramblings of a deeply deluded person as they are. I don't think I have to go into what he said. It's probably been a long time since he said them by the time you're looking at this video. But I saw a study that basically said that a quarter of U.S. adults do not know that the claims about the MMR vaccine causing autism are false. 1 out of 4. And I thought, you know what? I think that's the kind of population who could use a little more awareness. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. Evidently, there's still a big part of the population who needs to understand it. Because even autistic people, like myself, folks with ADHD, like myself, we internalize a lot of false things about it. Many think that only boys get it. They think that it only happens to white children. They think that they're all just a bunch of nonverbal people, if they're autistic, or folks that jump in their seats if they got ADHD. It would be wonderful if the world was more aware and understood autism and ADHD. But people just don't. They just don't. That's why I decided to make this channel. And I don't want to shoo people away just because they've made mistakes. Like the person who says it's a disease or it's an epidemic or maybe it's caused by environmental toxins and whatever. Like that person, I feel like that person needs to watch a channel like this just as much as the next viewer, because we can't assume that the content is supposed to be made for people who are already on the bandwagon. The echo chamber is not going to work. The algorithm, I know that it skews toward content that's inclusive and, doesn't offend anybody and says all the right things, but best case scenario, the people who are ignorant about neurodiversity, they're just going to keep whatever bad ideas they've got to themselves. Not going to share them. It would be great to explain to those people why the spectrum is wider than they think, and that they just have outdated info, right? But I got to talk to them too. So this channel is directed at everybody, but I have a hope that it gets directed at people who have been led astray by the RFK Juniors of the world. I want to talk to them. I want to help them understand that it's okay that they don't know everything about this stuff yet. A lot of people don't. And most importantly, your old information, your backwards ideas, your past where you said something weird, about autistic people or ADHD. I don't want you to feel like they define you. We're not our thoughts. We're not our feelings. We're not our behavior. We're responsible for them, but they are not who we are. You are not your thoughts. I think that's important to remember. I mean, let's say that there was a person who was a really big fan of this channel, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say there was a person who was like, oh my God, your content is really cool, and I really like your videos. I think it's great that we superior autistic people are making content for the neurotypical masses, Just because you like my stuff, we are not on the same page necessarily. I don't believe that anybody has more or less value than somebody else. Good for that person for liking what I do, but my values are not aligned. So come as you are. Come knowing that I want to help people understand this from the inside. That's what this channel is, I guess. Don't be surprised if I slip an opinion in there that you disagree with. Let me know what you've learned, and I'll tell you what I know. If you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. I know that already. But it's good for me to know whether or not people differ in the experience. And welcome to the channel.